one fights like Gaston. No one fights like Gaston.
I'll take the cue from you guys.
All right.
However you guys do that's how I'll do it.
All right.
We're rolling anytime.
Okay. My name is Bradley Jones.
I'm Andrew Moldenhauer.
And I'm Andy Hubert.
And guest star.
James Phillips.
And this is not a movie review podcast, but a podcast where we try to recall the events of a film that we haven't seen in a very, very long time. This is what we remember about Mrs. Doubtfire.
Were there 2 or 3 bad guys in Home Alone? And who was that forgetful fish in Finding Nemo? Join us as we're watching films. See what we remember and what memories we kill. Let's start the show. Here we go. This is what we remember.
Oh, yeah. This movie's classic.
Is it?
Oh, I think for sure it's classic.
Okay.
Also, we happen to have picked like 3 movies from like the same
1993,
yeah, 1993, 94. Like
these were big movies
Right.
for the time,
Yeah.
though.
I gotta say, I'm very excited to be on this podcast. I don't remember much about Mrs. Doubtfire, but I think we're gonna really
Oh my
get through
gosh,
this
this
together.
movie.
well, welcome as our first special guest.
I feel special.
Can you tell the audience about who you are, anything you do, or what you're into? James?
I spent, my name's James, I mentioned it earlier. I spent a lot of time in the 90s and 2000s watching movies.
How did you watch?
I thought you were just going to say
VHSs?
a lot of time. I spent a lot of time in the 90s.
You know what? I made it through the whole 90s and 2000s.
Did you go to the theater a lot? VHS tapes? How did you watch movies?
I
when
did.
you were- Everything.
Like midnight showings. We go to all the theater all the time. There wasn't much to do in my small hometown, so we went to the theater a lot. And I had a VCR in my room. Got a DVD player.
Jealous.
When they came
Real
out.
jealous.
So I would sit up there. I'd have some movies playing in the background. And
Nice.
Did you have cable growing up?
not in my room.
Okay.
So if I wanted to watch something on the TV, it was.
That's how, like, I
VHS.
didn't have a TV in my room until, like,
I had a TV
late
in my
high school,
room.
and I didn't have cable in there. So that's how I got watching MASH, because it was the only thing on, like, 1 a.m. on broadcast TV. It was, like, MASH
yeah.
reruns.
A lot of Star Trek Next Generation.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember watching a lot of Matlock too.
MASH,
Like,
Frasier.
I had a TV
Yeah.
in my room the same time. It was like
Yeah.
late high school, and I was like, "Oh, what's on at 2 a.m. on CW?"
Right.
Yeah,
Matt
what was?
Yeah,
Matt
that's true. I mean, that was pretty much all you get. But yeah. Living the dream. I always
Living the
wished I
dream.
wanted a TV in my room like since I was like 6, and it never happened.
Yeah, I had a computer, and so I'd play like StarCraft or something.
Oh,
like
yeah.
back in the day.
Classic.
And have Spaceballs going on in the background, like on a constant
God.
loop.
Really good movie.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is a movie that we need to write down.
That's a good one to put on the list.
Forgot about that. We don't have any Mel Brooks movies on our list.
Oh, they're
Oh,
all
it's
classic.
true.
They're
Yeah,
all
yeah.
so good.
Speaking of classics, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes, this is a great movie.
Did anybody
I
see
love
this
this
in
movie.
theaters? Because I didn't. I saw it on VHS. I'm pretty sure.
I think VHS.
I think VHS.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw it in theaters.
I definitely didn't see this in theaters. I would have been like 6.
I distinctly remember I was over at my cousin's house, and his dad was trying to take us to see a movie, and he got us to, like, you want to go see Mrs. Doubtfire? It's about a man who dresses up like a woman. Like, that was a selling
was
point
how
for,
it
like, a
sold it.
5-year-old.
Did
Like,
it?
yeah, I
did
want
it
to see
sell
that.
you though?
No. You want to see a man act like a woman?
So are you
For
saying this
2
movie is
hours.
not for kids?
Oh, I don't know. It would maybe confuse some kids. But I don't.
I think my
Open
hope
their
would be
minds.
that it would go over the heads of kids, but like
Yeah.
so the kids can enjoy it,
Yeah.
but then adults can enjoy
I do
those darker
believe
themes.
Rob Williams probably peppers in some adult humor in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know when.
I
but-
almost feel like this movie is probably made more for people in like their 40s or late 30s.
I would say it seems like it's a movie made for an older audience. It doesn't seem like a kid's
Right.
movie.
Didn't they have some like kind of slapstick stuff or like?
But, I mean,
little
it is
bit. I
a
mean,
Robin
he's-
Williams
Yeah,
film.
he's wearing
yeah.
a goofy costume the whole time.
And he like works on a kid's show and then has a kid's
yeah,
show.
so that's how it starts.
So-
is he's recording the voice for a cartoon. Like that's how it
Oh,
opens.
the very
Yeah.
opening scene is animated?
The
Or is it just him
opening
in a
scene,
booth talking?
Yeah, the opening scene is him in a booth, but there's already a cartoon, but there's no voice to it.
Oh, I see, and he's just doing
Which
a voiceover.
feels like it's backwards. I feel like how they would record audio first and then animate.
depends
around
on
that.
They don't usually.
it
They
depends
usually
on the
animate it
animation,
first
yeah.
and then do
Really?
the voices, yeah.
I am
see, like,
surprised to hear that.
Or if you
Yeah.
have it like if it's coming over from another country, like I
They
mean,
de-
all
yeah, they
anime,
definitely have
like they're
it
matching.
original.
They have to match the dubs with the lips, and so I mean, it can. Be
I almost
a
feel like
process.
they did that on purpose. Like had Robin Williams' character be a voice recorder or like someone who does
Voiceover actor,
voiceover
yeah.
acting. because he's so good at that.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah,
got to
it
give
makes
him,
sense.
you got to let
Like,
him
it's like
do
a-
what he does.
Yeah.
Because that's what that's how, same with Aladdin. They gave him the role of genie and basically just said, do whatever.
Although he was in a movie called The Awakenings where he played a psychiatrist, and that was kind of like a straight role that he did, like
Yeah.
right before this one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
I really
yeah.
liked,
When was
but-
60, or was it 60 minutes or whatever? The
You're
photo.
thinking a 1 hour photo.
1 hour photo
Oh,
is
yeah,
what I'm
that
thinking
was
of.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was later.
2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like 2002.
Yeah,
Okay.
he had a mix of serious and comedic
Yeah.
roles
'Cause he-
all throughout his career.
He played a psychiatrist in Good Will Hunting
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think like Good Will Hunting and like a couple years after that, he did a lot more serious roles. Like he was even in
Or Death to Smoochie
Insomnia.
Oh,
Death
That's
Smoochie
Smoochie
was a
was
dark
really
comedy.
Yeah, dark comedy.
And a
Yeah.
fantastic.
Really good.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah.
But
But Miss Doubtfire.
this is Doubtfire. Dark comedy.
Dark-
Really good.
really dark.
So he's already divorced with Sally Field at this time, right?
Yeah,
right
the
when
movie
movie
starts,
He's
he's
like
already
living in an
divorced.
apartment. He's missing his kids. Does he lose custody completely of his kids, or does he only get to see them
Not-
like once every once in a
I
while?
think they're having the battle like when the movie starts is like they're still fighting about how custody's going to work.
Yeah.
because they have like a hearing because that's when he pleads with the judge at one point. He's like, "Please don't take my kids
Yeah.
away." And
Right,
it's like
the
really
medical.
sad, like a heartbreaking moment because you do get to see how much he cares about his kids and that the divorce is hard on all of them.
So he probably sees them maybe once in a while. He just wants to see them all the time because the kids do come to his apartment. If I
Yeah.
remember,
I think because I think
for
when it
dinner or
starts, he
something
has
like
some
that.
visitation, and then I think
Yeah.
the hearing gives her full custody of the
Oh,
kids.
does it? Oh.
I think that's maybe.
But I think that comes way
Maybe I'm
later
wrong.
in the movie.
That could be.
I think like the
It's
like
this
that's-
is just what I remember. So
yeah. So I in the beginning of the movie though, he shows up at their school and picks them up from school to take them back to Sally Field's house, who's the mom,
Uh-huh.
to throw this birthday party.
Another birthday party.
it was also a '90s movie
Yeah,
trope,
everyone
I guess.
had birthday
So
parties.
everyone having birthday
Sally
parties.
Field obviously needs a house sitter or like a nanny of some kind
Mhm.
because she's just too overwhelmed being a single parent, right?
Right. Well,
Who sets up the
but this
premise
is
of
what
him
I
being a nanny.
think this is what happens is Robin Williams is saying, "Let me take the kids. Like, let me take them after
Yeah.
school because you're still working till like 5 or 6 or whatever."
Yeah, she's. What does she do? What does she do for a living? Do you remember what Sally
I
Field
don't remember what
does?
she does.
She works at an office.
I wonder if we ever see
She's
that.
business.
She is business
she's
woman.
business.
Great business.
But because he
Yeah.
works in like he's just in like the TV industry
Right,
because
right.
he's like on a soundstage for shooting a show at some point too. Not where he's like, but he's a crew member or something.
Yeah. I don't know why Sally Field is like immediately like, "No, you can't take the kids after school."
Yeah, why
But
she's so
that's how
against
she
it.
is. She just doesn't want him to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they really ever go in depth on the reason for the divorce, or because she has a lot of animosity towards him. It
Yeah.
feels like
And I think he still loves her.
it
if I'm
seems
not
like
mistaken.
yeah, it
Yeah.
seems
It's
like
all on her
he's-
side of like why she wanted
It
the
does
divorce.
come off that way.
Maybe
in
he
my
couldn't
head.
grow up or was acted too much like a kid and wasn't what she was.
And I'm like,
looking
that's
for.
on you. You married Robin Williams. That's
Right.
exactly.
That's what you get.
the same thing that she loved at the beginning of the relationship, she hated at the end of the relationship.
Oh man, isn't that how it always is? Huh?
Yeah.
Ain't that just the way?
So is there a montage of her auditioning other babysitters?
Oh, there has to be.
Does that happen?
I think there
There
is.
has to be a montage.
Okay,
This is
they
a 90s
can't not
movie.
be a montage. Okay, when we talk about tropes from the '90s,
Yeah.
this is like
So
number one on the
So there's
list.
probably like several like really bad candidates, and then because he has access to makeup because he works in
Yeah.
movies
His
or whatever.
his
Because of
brother, brother
Oh.
is a makeup artist.
Okay.
That's how. Quick question. What song do you think is playing during that montage?
Dude looks like a lady is playing a little bit later, but I
On
don't
a
know if
loop?
it's that scene.
It's just on a loop
Yeah.
the whole movie?
I think I remember him riding a bus, and then that song's playing. But I would guess that song plays 3 times in this film.
Here's the big thing
I
though.
guess.
Did Aerosmith write that song for Mrs. Doubtfire, or was that a previous song?
I think it was a previous song.
Do you think that the person writing this heard that song and was like, there's a movie idea?
Dude looks like a lady. Let's do it. I mean,
like
Tootsie had already come out. This is just like another Tootsie, right?
We're reimagining Tootsie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tootsie only came out like maybe 5, 6
Now
years
I'm just
before.
thinking of it in like the what's that movie? The Professional, or the one where it's about Hollywood movie where every pitch for a movie has to be like this movie
Oh.
meets another movie.
Oh.
I don't remember
Oh,
which
yeah.
movie.
The player.
The player.
Yeah.
Blank
Robert
meets
Altman.
blank.
Yes. So it's Tootsie meets Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Is what this is.
Love it. Greenlit.
So Robin Williams' plan is to see his kids more by being
By
the nanny?
dressing up like a nanny.
Old Irish or Scottish? What is the accent he's doing?
It's some sort of English Scottish
Yeah.
kind of accent.
I think Scottish.
It's yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, though. I remember this. I don't know how this happens, but he finds out that she's trying to get a nanny, maybe through the kids.
I think he sees an
Yeah, I
ad in
think
the
that makes
paper.
sense.
He sees an ad in the paper.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's writing an ad to submit to the paper, and he changes a number on it. He changes a couple
So
numbers.
no one else can get it. So there is no montage.
Oh,
scene.
No. Go ahead, James.
No, I'm curious to see if there's still a montage.
This is very important to
I
this
have to know
film.
if there's a montage.
There is still a montage.
Okay.
But no one has the phone number.
Robin Williams is playing every single one of the people.
Oh my
Blew
god.
the mic out.
Is incredible.
This film is so meta.
So it's just the different versions of what they may want, and then they just land on this English nanny at the end.
Yeah, I think what he's doing
This is going to be totally wrong, and we're going to feast so silly
I hope
afterwards.
not.
But
I love this idea.
So I think what he's doing is he's not dressing up like. Well, maybe he is. I don't know. Actually,
Is he dressed up like different?
I think what he does is he
ethnicities?
calls Sally Field as a couple other people, and he keeps saying like, oh, I'm blah blah blah. I'm applying for the nanny position, but he specifically does things to make
Sabotage him?
Yeah, to sabotage it to
Yeah.
make her go like, oh, this is a terrible candidate.
okay.
So he's trying
Until
to wear
he-
her down.
Yes, until he finally settles on the Mrs. Doubtfire voice.
So this has to be illegal too. He can't be doing. He can't be doing this.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know how how well regulated the hire a babysitter market is.
And also,
but-
why wouldn't she want him to take care of the kids when she's busy? Does she hate him that much? I mean, he seems like a good dad.
I think it's part of it is that like it would hurt her also in like the custody battle if she's giving him the kids more because it's her acknowledging that he's a fit parent. And kind of like her argument is that he's not okay to be taking
Where
care
did
of these
their
kids.
relationship go wrong?
I know, that's what I want
They
to...
jump
What
into
happened?
it from that point. Like you don't really know.
You don't
He
get to
seems like a
see.
good guy.
Here's the thing, though: that party that he throws at the beginning of the movie, it's like off the chain. Like there's goats at this party. There's
What?
clowns. There's rap music. There's a bunch of random people in Sally Field's house, and she shows up early from work.
Okay, and that's the
And she's
straw that
like,
breaks the camel's back.
exactly. She's like, why are you doing this? Like you're a disaster. I don't know what she says exactly.
This is what she says. I have no idea what she says.
But basically,
The gist
she's
of it.
not happy with
Yeah.
him.
Okay.
And that's why I think that's why she turns
tries
to
to
a
take the kids.
babysitter.
Okay.
Okay, that could be.
All right.
Possible. I don't know.
Are we on the right movie?
So there are two kids, right? They're not. Is there a little
There's
kid?
three kids. There's
Three
three.
kids?
There's a
Is there a
little
little
girl.
Oh, okay, there's a little girl.
An
'Cause
old, there's an older sister.
I got it
think it's the
confused with
oldest.
Hook then.
Is
That's
the
Yeah.
sister?
that's
There's an
okay.
older sister.
Older sister,
a
middle kid's a brother.
The middle brother
youngest
is
sister.
Joey Lawrence's
Brother?
Brother, I forget
Yeah.
his name.
It's Joey Lawrence 2.
Also,
2.0.
Joseph.
yeah.
He's Joseph
But he also
Lawrence.
he was in Boy Meets World for a while.
Yeah.
And I forget.
Oh,
I
okay.
forget his
The
name, but-
little girl is the girl from Matilda.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
You're
Okay.
right.
Now I
yeah,
remember.
she is.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a movie. we should
I have
put
no
on the
idea
list.
what the older.
The older girl,
is
I have
from
no
or-
idea. I remember her being kind of attractive though. Back when I saw
Sure.
it.
I mean,
Oh, the oldest sister.
Yeah,
Again,
like when I was a
girls
kid
attractive
seeing
when
it,
you
I
were
was
a
like,
kid.
oh,
When I was a
she's
kid
very
watching
attractive.
other movies, I thought 28-year-old ladies were
Right.
totally hot. And
I'm
okay
sure
to be
Sally
kissed.
Field looks
Yet
good in
you
this
never
movie.
made a move on those 28-year-olds.
I'm putting that out there. Maybe Sally Field's a looker in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I've
well
never
enough.
had an opinion
Like-
about Sally Field.
All right. I'm putting that out there.
10-year-old me probably wasn't into it. But
Maybe now.
Maybe
Who
now.
Yeah,
knows?
maybe revisiting this would be like.
I mean, if Pierce Brosnan's into it,
Yeah.
who am I to
What-
judge?
That's true.
When
Dropping
does
the ball, Pierce
Brosnan-
Brosnan's in this movie.
When
Yeah.
does Pierce Brosnan show up?
I feel right in the middle.
I think
Because
it's
they're
in the
going on a
middle.
vacation
Mm-hmm.
where he's going with them to take care of the kids.
Mrs. Doubtfire's going with them.
Yeah.
And
Also, Pierce Brosnan's going with
Pierce
them.
Brosnan. Yeah.
Hmm.
They go on like a cruise.
I don't
or
even
something,
remember
or
that.
to
All I
a-
remember
They
is
go
the
to a
restaurant with Pierce
vacation
Brosnan.
resort. I remember because there's a pool involved.
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan gets out of a pool and he's all handsome.
It's possible they
and
just
then
went to a
Mrs.
wave
Doubtfire
pool.
throws something at
throws a
him.
lime at him, I think.
Yeah, it sticks to his head. Or
Yeah.
bounces
Oh,
off
somebody's
of him.
throwing lime. I don't know. It's like a fruit bandit or something like that.
But he's immediately
Yes, I think he does say fruit bandit.
but before that, he runs errands the whole movie, just taking care of the kids, and like montages
How many montages?
happen in this film.
Oh god.
The answer is not enough.
Probably he's definitely vacuuming. He's cleaning things,
I think there's a montage too when he's like trying to find the right face to be Mrs. Doubtfire.
putting on several
He
noses.
tries his different
Yes.
faces. Yeah,
What is the montage count up to now? 3 at least?
it's 2 or 3 at the very minimum.
montage count. Yes. So that is what I was remembering. So he does the voices on the phone to get Miss Doubtfire. Then he meets up with his brother to figure out the face of Miss Doubtfire.
Yeah.
That's where you get that montage of like him doing a bunch of voices and with scary faces.
Yeah, really.
Definitely creepy latex faces.
Yeah.
So then he's trying to break up Pierce Brosnan and Sally Field, and he's
Right.
also has like a job offer, or he's trying to get something with his work, right? Or like some opportunity came up.
Well, he has his own show
he's-
idea.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's getting picked up, or
Well,
he
not
gets
yet.
a pilot for it. or
I don't
something.
think it's getting picked up yet. I think he has an idea and he's been trying to sell it, like kind of get someone on board with it, and has been unsuccessful so far. So it's sort of like he's like a failed kind of showmaker at this point, and just working as like a crew guy on these shows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he keeps recording all these
right.
voices,
'Cause I
but he
think-
wants to do his own
Because I think at the end, the idea is that he's alone in the studio doing his idea for the show kind of to himself. And like one of the studio head or something comes in and sees him doing it and is like, that's great, you're great. Now everything's great in this film because now you're successful.
Is he Mrs. Doubtfire in that show?
Yes, he is. He
about
is
that?
Mrs. Doubtfire in the show at the end.
All right.
I was wondering if that was going to come
commits.
back.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like maybe the show idea at the beginning was him being a nanny, or at the end, like he had a new show of him being.
I think this is what happens. After recording a voiceover, everyone leaves the studio. For some reason, there's a bunch of dinosaurs set
It
up.
is
Oh,
dinosaurs.
yeah.
It is
Oh,
dinosaurs.
the
Because
dinosaurs.
I totally, yes.
And he
You're
just
totally
starts rapping as all these dinosaurs, and like the
Oh.
studio executive is
He's
there,
there.
and he's like laughing, and he's like, "That's genuinely funny. I think this is."
He's probably looking
Really
for like
funny.
a new idea that's like wholesome and good for kids.
Looking for a new kids show idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
And
sounds-
so I
yeah.
think that's why they set up a meeting later on. He's like, "Let's go get dinner and talk about some of your ideas to kind of flush this out."
Yeah, I think you're right. Because then he has the dual dinner date.
The
where
dual
he-
The dual
dinner
dinner
date.
date's a big thing that happens.
Yes.
That is a solid.
He's trying to be Mrs. Doubtfire and
himself.
and himself
at the
meeting
same
with the
time.
producer.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and he's like
Dinner.
constantly rushing back, into the
Changing
bathroom.
outfits,
Yeah.
trying to make.
And then
things
someone
right.
chokes on something.
Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce
Was it
Oh,
Pierce
yeah.
Brosnan? I wasn't sure.
and he tries to save Pierce Brosnan's life, and his like whole wig falls off, or his
Yes.
everything.
Oh.
that's
It
his
gets
Oh,
revealed
that's the
that he
reveal.
is Mrs.
His shirt comes undone,
That
and
he's
all
that guy.
this. But he also sits down with the executive as Miss Doubtfire,
Yes.
not remembering
That's right.
that he's at the executive's table.
Right. And he's like, "Oh, I wrong table," and he runs off.
Yeah.
But that executive is all about Mrs. Doubtfire. Like wants to date.
It's like,
He
oh
physically.
my.
Yeah.
He wants,
Wants
to,
to get with
mac
that
He's
on
like,
Mrs.
do you
Doubtfire.
have to take the costume off? Oh, man.
Okay.
Or does he sit down as Mrs. Doubtfire by accident and say like, "Oh, well, this is my idea for the character in the show"?
I think it kind of he does that. Like
Okay, that's how he tries to
he
play
tries
it off. Or
he
something.
tries to play it off for sure. But there's a sequence that happens slightly before. We did just jump right to the end,
yeah.
which
We
is
did.
kind of funny.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's a sequence that happens before where Pierce Brosnan seems he's genuinely like a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
he's a
Rob-
little smug.
He's
Yes.
a little bit, but I
because
think
he's
if we go back and watch
British
it,
or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
it's true.
They are just fun people.
He just comes off that way naturally.
but I think if we go back and watch it, like Pierce Brosnan's character does really like Miss Doubtfire and is like really nice to her throughout the movie. So he's not really a villain per se.
yeah.
But he's filling
you're
that
right.
role that Robin Williams really
To
wants.
fill.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
So like that's
He's just
where
a
the
better version of.
and
Yeah.
he's kind of, he
It's
he
kinda like
misses
Robin
his
Williams
kids, but
versus
he's
himself.
jealous, and yeah.
So not so much a villain as an obstacle.
right,
You just have to
right.
overcome.
But there's a sequence where we find out that Pierce Brosnan's allergic to pepper.
Oh.
Wow, that is
Okay.
It's a
debilitating.
You're remembering
cut.
this film.
Yeah.
That is a deep cut.
And Mrs. Doubtfire uses that somehow? Puts pepper on his
Yes.
steak or something?
Yes.
Okay.
He specifically
Oh,
says,
yeah.
no pepper. No pepper on my steak.
Yeah.
And then Miss Doubtfire goes into the kitchen and puts some pepper on the steak,
Why would he do this?
trying to kill...
Seriously kill a
He
guy.
wants to murder
That's
Pierce
not okay.
Brosnan?
Were there EpiPens at this time? Like, that seems really life-threatening.
Did she question his ordering of the steak au poivre? You know?
You're like,
Whoa, wait a
Why,
second,
you
though.
can't have pepper. Why would you order the steak au poivre?
Wait a second, though. He doesn't react as if he's, like, breaking out from the pepper. He reacts as if he's choking on the steak.
yeah, because
So he says, I'm allergic to pepper, but then he chokes on it.
It's very confusing.
Yeah. So there has to be a moment in this movie where he wins the kids' trust or something like that, right? Or solves their
As
problems.
Mrs. Doubtfire?
As Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, there's
Maybe he
because they're
learned something
skeptical at first.
That's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
Like a
because
Mary
they're
Poppins
against
moment?
Mrs. Doubtfire. They would rather have their
The
dad.
dad.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. And
Which
he-
is interesting because the
Yeah.
mom doesn't want the dad, the kids want the dad.
Yeah,
the
the
dad
kids
wants
have
to be
been-
with the kids.
yeah. And the mean old judge is like, no.
Yeah, whatever.
This is really just an anti-Sally Fields movie. Is what I'm getting.
She's
it's like,
the villain.
she is the villain.
Oh.
So I'm guessing what fills out the middle of the movie is him helping the kids with problems? Like,
Yes, and
the
winning
little-
each of them over individually.
Right.
I think.
Maybe
He
helping
I
with
think he
homework or
first-
getting like
yeah.
a date for the
He
daughter.
first wins over Sally Field as Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she's like immediately like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I want daddy or whatever, all the kids.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Sally Fields was saying that.
Oh.
Oh, daddy.
But then there's the reveal that Mrs. Doubtfire is a dude.
Well, before they get to that reveal, there's that moment where he doesn't have the face on, but he's got the rest of the outfit, and somebody
Oh,
comes
that's-
home, and he's like, "Oh no, what do I do?"
That's
I
the
gotta cover-"
highlight of the trailer.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he goes to the refrigerator, plops his face into the cake, and comes out, and he's like, "Hello."
Yep, with the cake all
This
over his
happened.
face because he's covering up that he doesn't have
Yep.
a mask on. Because that's when he was like he accidentally threw it out the window and it gets run over by a truck. And then it has a big like tire mark right down the middle of
Yeah.
it. Yep. And he has to go tell his brother he needs a new one. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Wait a second though. That lady that shows up, the older lady, she's like a social worker or something like that.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Why is she there?
Maybe she's checking on him as a parent, and he's wearing the Mrs. Doubtfire outfit, and then he puts it on to make
Yeah,
it...
because he's trying to say that
Maybe he
Mrs.
wants to-
Doubtfire is his sister or something like that.
Oh, that could be.
Because he was like, she showed up early and he was getting home from
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
being with the kids,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then he's trying to get out of the costume,
can't.
and then.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But if she's a social worker, that would mean that there's like a CPS case open.
Let's
tell
get
you,
down to the
throughout this
nitty-gritty.
whole
This is
film,
his
they are like,
wheelhouse.
Whoa! Wait a second.
through the whole film, Sally
Custody.
Fields is insisting that he's an unfit parent.
Yeah.
and like so in order to get custody, he has to prove that he is.
She's got to be like a CPS worker, thinking that he's like either abused these kids or like neglected them.
yeah,
somehow.
something like that.
What is the
I mean,
point?
it seems like neglect. It
I
would
told
be
you,
the way
like,
to go.
there's some really
Okay.
dark themes in this film, like, which is why it was so easy to recut the trailer as like a horror film or whatever. When they which is a really good.
Mrs. Doubtfire
Parody
coming out with
trailer.
a knife to cut a cake.
Nobody takes my kids away from me.
So but then there's the reveal that he's a dude to the kids.
Yeah, that happens before the Sally Field, right? They're in on it before the mom
Yes.
knows,
Yes,
right?
they are.
Does he give him like a little wink and a nod, like bing?
One of them figures it out somehow.
The son does.
Okay.
Oh, is it?
Just based off
When
on
he-
something he...
Is he peeing standing up or
Doubtfire.
something?
that
I feel like I remember something like that.
He might do that in the
He
in
is
the
being
dinner
standing up, I'm
scene.
pretty sure.
I feel like I remember that as a thing.
And it's funny. Sometimes I remember random lines, but
Give it to us.
Hit it.
so the son walks into the bathroom as Mrs. Doubtfire's peeing standing up, and he closes the door. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." But then he sees the sister, and he's like, "He's a she." She's a he's a she. Like he's like trying to like get it out that like Mrs. Doubtfire is a guy.
You know, in the future, kids shouldn't be this shocked by this anymore. We need to be accepting and just
2000,
understand.
Yep,
It's
this
the
is-
90s.
This is
Let's
the
get over it.
Caitlyn Jenner era.
This is,
all seen it.
Look, everyone is different.
Yeah, different strokes, man. Different strokes.
So the kids are on board with him being the fake nanny for a while before
Yes.
they go on the
Because they
station,
miss
I
him,
think.
and they do.
Yeah, they
they
just wanna
enjoy
hang out
being with
Dad.
him, but they can't because Sally Fields is a mean old lady.
And yet he still has to dress up like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Right.
To fool the mom and apparently the CPS lady.
I think the little girl doesn't find out that it's Dad until he's doing the Heimlich maneuver on Pierce Brosnan.
That
I think
could be.
that's where she's like, Dad? Or like something like that. Like she's clued in like very late.
Okay, that would make kind of sense. Because I don't think she's present with the pee standing up thing because it's like the two older siblings. Who
Yeah, it's a
get
little.
that. She's
little
like too
weird.
young to accept that at that point.
Yeah, you don't want to really talk about people standing up in front of like a 5-year-old.
Right. Or at least I don't. I don't know about you guys.
I certainly don't.
So
Let's get to the wrap up. Like the ending is after that.
Yeah, after the dinner scene, everyone knows that he's a she.
He's a
She's a he, she.
She's a she.
And things kind of get weird. He loses probably custody, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
I think so.
he has
like-
the hearing.
that's,
Like,
like, done.
they're like,
You can't
wait
be
a minute.
doing that.
So you tricked your wife into letting you in the home, and
Yeah.
it makes it sound
Yeah.
crazy out of context.
But all the
Well,
kids
okay,
love
well,
it.
admittedly,
is.
it was crazy
It
to
is
begin
crazy
with.
in context. As an outside observer looking in,
Yes.
this guy
In
is really
context and
insane.
out.
Yeah.
Yes, totally. You would think he's insane if you were just a third party and being told what happened.
But all the kids have his back, I'm pretty sure.
I
And
think
they're
so.
like, it's okay, we want Daddy not to go away. And he's crying.
and that's what that's when he gives his really earnest like, please don't
Sally
take my
Fields
kids away
might
from me.
not
I
know
love them
how
so
much the kids miss him.
Right. And I think in
Sorry
the
about interrupting.
in
No,
the
you're fine.
court, what Andy was saying, like how he's like pleading with the judge, like my kids mean everything
Yes.
to me. Sally Fields, I think, is finally like the judge is like, no, like you can't get custody. But I think we see a shot of Sally Fields' face where she's genuinely like
upset about
she's
the
upset,
verdict.
like wow, like I'm taking his
She
kids
starts
away.
to realize,
I didn't
exactly what
realize
that means.
how much they meant it.
And
And
then-
I don't think he knew until he was Mrs. Doubtfire how much he loved his kids.
Yeah, okay.
Everybody learns something.
Yeah, because I think like maybe he's spending too much time at work and then like being kind of
Okay.
reckless with the kids later on with that party.
You don't
Yeah.
know what you got till it's gone, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
You gotta
That's
know when to
the-
hold him and know when to fold
That's the
him.
moral of this.
That one doesn't apply here.
So I think after that,
He gets the kid show.
the kids are. She's like, hey, the babysitter showed up. Why don't you guys come over and meet the babysitter? And then the kids are like, oh, well, we don't want to do
not
that.
a new babysitter, but then it's Dad.
It's Dad.
Yeah.
Not
No,
as Mrs. Doubtfire.
Just Dad. I was
Dad.
hoping it was Mrs. Doubtfire.
The
Dad.
kids were hoping it was Mrs. Doubtfire, and they were like, "Oh, it's just Dad."
Oh, just Dad.
Do Sally Fields and Rob Williams get together by the end of the
I
film?
don't know.
I don't think that's the point of the film.
Yeah,
so
I
don't
do
know.
not
I don't
think
it
that
is either,
happens at
but-
all.
So they kind of just move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of one of those like we both have a connection with the kids. Like we may
Right.
not like each other,
Right.
but
right.
Is Pierce Brosnan okay?
Is he still in the picture?
that's a good. Did he die in the restaurant?
Yeah, 'cause it seems like he probably should have.
Oh, he might have died.
probably
Real
dead.
dark.
Pierce Brosnan had to have done something to make Sally Field angry with him. Maybe he says
Maybe he
something
said
about
something
his,
in the
dad,
restaurant.
or it's like,
don't
oh,
know. I
don't
or
remember
maybe he
what
says something
happened to
bad
his
about
character.
the kids.
I just feel like his character never comes back after
Oh,
he's saved.
he has a resolution.
You
It's
think
Pierce
so?
Brosnan.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
maybe at the end he goes out with the mom, and they're like, "Meet the babysitter," and he's
Yeah.
like okay with it now because he does understand that he's a good guy.
He either has ulterior motive, or he's just really like he says something mean to the kids, or
Maybe
I'm gonna
like
make
a rookie. Of
I'm
the
gonna
year
make
moment.
a wild claim that he's always a good guy. All the
All right, all right.
way.
Okay, we'll jot that down. We're gonna have to revisit that one specifically and tell you how wrong you were when he turns out to be the worst person in the film.
And I'm going to make a claim right now that there are at least 4 montages.
Four
Ooh.
montages.
4 montages.
That's a lot of montages.
I know, and I'm going that high.
Okay,
I'd say 2.
I would say, two would be 9 number.
Can I backtrack just for a second on my Pierce Brosnan claim?
You can't go back now. So when we find out that he was
I
trying to sell the children into forced slavery, we need to be able to say that you're a horrible person.
I think there was one scene at the pool party thing where he checks out a girl's butt, and that's the only time that you're like, hey, Pierce, you shouldn't do
What
that.
is that? You're dating Sally Field.
But I bet Mrs. Doubtfire also checks out that girl's butt.
Yeah,
right?
probably. Okay, wait a
And
second.
then they have an awkward eye contact afterwards, and they're like,
Wait a second.
I really hope that happens.
hope so too.
Maybe I'm even wrong. Maybe it was Mrs. Doubtfire checking out the girl, and then Pierce Brosnan's like, wait a second.
Yeah, that could be.
Okay, my claim still stands. Pierce Brosnan's good all the way through the movie.
The whole movie.
All right, I want to propose to you this question. We're making Mr. Doubtfire today. Who do you cast as the lead of Mr. Doubtfire?
Kate McKinnon. Saturday
That
Night
would be a
Live.
really
That'd
good
be good.
choice, I
Yep.
think.
Sandra Bullock. I'm just putting that out there. She does comedy. She's good.
She does good, but I don't know if she has the range to play multiple characters.
To be a Mister.
Like a
I feel like it's gonna be Kristen Wiig, but
No, who's,
Oh,
who's,
yeah.
Who's,
Kristen
who's
Wiig.
the other one? She was in that movie, the cop movie with Sandra Bullock.
Melissa
Melissa
McCarthy.
McCarthy.
Yeah, I
McCarthy.
feel like
She would be
I
Mr.
think she could pull it
Doubtfire.
off.
She's so hot right now.
That would
She
be
could
my
pull it off.
guess.
It's just so hot right now.
I think she could pull off a really good Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mr.
What a-
Doubtfire.
Mr.
What about a remake of Mrs. Doubtfire? Who would be the
It's a
guy?
remake? Man.
Sean William Scott. That's like the
I'd
worst.
watch
It's
that.
just Stifler the whole time.
He needs to be in more movies. He's taking on that role.
I'll do anything, please.
Dak Shepard, Johnny Knoxville are on the list. Just those really middle ground.
I was gonna say
comedian
Chris
types.
Pratt, maybe.
He'd be way too above that, I think.
Above
Really?
it? I mean, I think
Yeah.
he could do it, but yeah, I don't think he would do it.
No,
We'll never know.
I think we could get Pierce Brosnan back.
Yeah.
Pierce
Price's
Brosnan
role.
in a sequel where he's trying to get back with Sally Field.
Ooh.
Sally Field just has a history of losing men and having them try to get back with the kids.
So, when you guys saw this originally, or the last time you saw this movie, did you guys enjoy it?
Oh yeah,
Totally. I've always loved this
a lot
movie.
of funny moments. Robin Williams is always doing something great on the scene.
I don't think there's a bad Robin Williams movie. I like even
Toys?
Hook. People say to poop all
Toys
over
is
a Hook,
really
but
bad.
It's true. Toys is really
It's
terrible.
not a good film.
Okay, I pretend that movie doesn't exist. Now I can say, like,
Now, I feel like that was kind of an easy question, but do you think also, like, when we're going to watch this for the second part, will it stand up?
Yes.
Or will it feel like
think
it's too long,
so,
or
man.
what?
I'm worried that I'm gonna be so montaged out that I'm gonna be like,
4 montages.
just like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm kind of worried it's not, and I don't want that to happen.
I feel like
but-
there's enough heart and emotional stuff that happens in the movie.
If
where
I'm
gonna
remembering
be
the
in
sincerity of
with
like
it.
some of those scenes where he's like truly like terrified and sad that he's losing his kids, I think he'll pull it back. Kind of Gary Busey save.
Oh
where
yeah,
it's just such a genuine character. That it'll work.
Yeah. What company do you feel made this movie? Like Disney, Paramount?
I would see this being like a
Universal.
Touchstone picture.
Ooh, Touchstone.
Universal's an okay guess.
Yeah, Universal would be probably be my guess.
Yeah. Definitely not Disney.
No.
Probably a Disney
no.
film.
It
It's
could-
probably
Disney was
probably
almost
Disney.
exclusively doing like animated stuff, but
Yeah.
a few live
They
action
did Blank
things,
Check.
but- Yeah, that's true.
They did do Blank
There's
Check.
precedent, but I mean, are they going to do Blank Check and Mrs. Doubtfire in the same at the same time?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
So the cover of Mrs. Doubtfire is very distinct in my memory. It's like her opening a door and her head sticking out with all the kids' heads.
Okay.
Oh, that's beyond what I thought it was.
Isn't that what the cover of Mrs. Doubtfire is? Like,
I
that sounds
kind of do
nice.
remember
Yeah.
like her opening the door, but like looking towards the camera.
yeah.
But I don't remember the kids being in there.
I don't know.
Yeah, all the kids, that's Sally Field, the whole family is like, oh,
Even Pierce Brosnan.
here's Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh man.
This all sounds so good. I can't wait to rewatch this film. I'm so excited.
All right, so join us in the next part when we actually watch the film. Part 2 coming up. We don't have ads on this episode, but if we did, it'd go here. But we don't, so enjoy the show.
Oh my God!
Chris, wait.
Lydia, come on. We gotta call the cops. We gotta dial 911 now.
Why?
Well, Mrs. Doubtfire, he's a she.
What?
He's half man, half woman.
What?
Yes, I swear.
All right, everyone. Now just calm down.
Freeze!
Just relax, please.
He's gonna get it.
In the balls.
Yeah.
She's got him. She's got everything.
All right, listen to me. I'm not who you think I am.
Yeah, no shit.
Watch your mouth, young man.
Oh my God. Dad?
Yeah.
All right, welcome to part 2. We have just watched Mrs. Doubtfire, and let me say right out of the gate, Pierce Brosnan is
a good guy.
Good guy.
He was a good guy.
He's a fundamentally good guy.
Nothing is bad about.
I kept
Pierce
waiting for the
Brosnan.
other pin to drop, and it
Never
just
happened.
Never happened.
Never the villain.
He's
No,
never once
never
the
the
villain.
Even moments when he probably could have been a jerk, he was the nicest
Yeah, there's
guy.
a scene like he's talking to some guy, and the guy's like, "Come on, Pierce." I don't remember what his character's name is.
Stu.
It was like, "Come on, Stu, you're not a kid type of guy. You were always like, no kids ever." And you're like waiting for Pierce to be like, "No, but I like their mom." But he's just like, "Actually, I genuinely love all 3 of those children to the bottom of my heart." to like a guy we have never met.
Yeah,
on
random
camera.
Joe Schmo.
And it's like I was waiting for it to happen.
Never
It
happened.
did.
It was always just
He
a
was
great
just a
man.
genuinely good guy.
But man, does Mrs. Doubtfire like to talk about the size of his wiener?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She went on for a long
A
time.
few times,
Really does.
She keeps bringing up that he's got a small
It
wiener.
makes Pierce very uncomfortable.
Yeah, he doesn't like it at all.
Yeah,
and he
I wonder-
shouldn't.
He's a little like, "Hey, what have you seen?" Like, I mean, if I was talking to Pierce Brosnan, I'd probably say the same stuff. But
But it's a little weirder when you do it.
well, I know, but it has to be done.
It has to be done.
And a lot of those scenes, like that scene in particular, it felt like Robin was like ad-libbing a lot of stuff, and Pierce was just like,
It feels like
Well,
the whole movie. He's
yeah.
ad-libbing some
Not
From what I understand,
reacting
he
or
ad
saying
libbed
anything
a ton
back.
of that stuff, including the drive-by fruiting.
Yes.
Yeah,
It was
which we got
not.
it
We
right.
were not fruit bandits.
They were not fruit
They
bandits.
should have
He-
been fruit bandits.
He throws a lime and it bounces right off Pierce Brosnan's head, and he says it was a drive-by fruiting,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
blames the waitstaff.
He didn't tip the wait staff.
The kitchen help.
Did you not tip the wait staff?
And maybe behind the scenes, Stu went to like the management and was like, "Someone threw a lime in my head today. I need someone fired." And some poor guy lost his job because of that. Because Stu's a bad guy.
Whoa, we
Stu
did not
did-
see
you-
that.
Stu
cannot
would
back
have
that up.
and talked it up. That
is
guy
a
would have had a
bad
raise by at the end
guy.
of the day. Stu would have got him a better job.
Like, I appreciate his gumption for throwing that lime. He deserves a raise.
He expressed what he felt.
Everybody around Stu is better for being around Stu. We'll just put that out there.
Damn it.
Is this the highlight of Pierce Brosnan's career?
Ooh,
Probably.
It can't be
I
James
can't think of
Bond.
anything else
No.
he's done.
Yeah, I mean, just that diving board. It looks like him. I don't know
he
if
did
it's a
that.
stunt
He did
double.
a
but
double flip off
It
that.
looks like him.
I don't think there was a cut in that
No.
scene at all.
I mean, he is a daredevil. He was a fire eater.
Yes, we learned that
We
he's
did
a
learn
fire
that he's
eater.
a fire eater.
Yep.
Wait, what?
Pierce Brosnan apparently until
The Muppets movie
the
in 2004.
Muppets. Yeah, until the Muppets. I don't know if it was the movie or the show. He had like an
whatever it
accident
was.
with it, but he did fire eating
Oh.
Until he had
until he had an accident.
Oh no.
Well, I guess you can do anything until you have an accident.
I tell myself that when I put on my diaper every day.
No accidents for me today. You look. You just had a happy little accident.
Well, I will say that somebody who does suck is Sally Field.
Yeah.
She
Her,
is
okay, she
a
is
jerk.
genuinely like
She
the
is a
villain
bad
of this
person.
film.
I would say that she has an arc that is maybe a little bit more bigger than Robin Williams' character, who seems to be like good all the way through. Just
Yeah.
like maybe doesn't have some things in his
Yeah.
life
They
organized.
both grow a little bit because
He just learns how to cook,
he
really.
learns how to
Yeah,
cook
he does.
and clean a little bit,
Two
and
things
he
he
does seem to sort of accept some like I need to have some rules for the kids,
responsibilities for himself too.
because he did make her the bad cop 24/7.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I feel like,
But at the same time, she is a bad
She is
cop.
a bad person.
as an adult now, I feel like I more can relate to Sally Field than to the Robin Williams, because it's like she's like trying to hold down a job with this other guy's, like her husband's always between jobs, never like really contributing.
You also have a
Always.
really wide mouth, so that's also
It reaches my eyes.
very
She-
Sally Field.
Yeah, that's actually what got me started, is that Sally Field and I had the same shape of face. But no, like, her husband is this kind of piece of shit, and she's trying to hold everything down and constantly keep things running, and he's always blaming her for all the bad things that's going on. And so she's just like, no, peace out, man, I'm done.
No, she doesn't say peace out. She kicks him out and says, peace off.
Yeah, she says,
Right.
she says peace
And
off.
then, when she comes to see his apartment that he has scraped together after she kicked him
In
out
like
of their
a
wonderful
week. In like
house,
a
and
week.
she
Insults-
makes all the money,
insults
she's
him
like,
right to
oh,
his
what a
face.
piece of shit apartment. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry you kept the amazing house we had.
Yeah. And this food is terrible, even though it's not. It's just
Yeah, it was
generic takeout food.
Just regular takeout food. I mean, it's like it didn't seem like she ever was cooking, so I have to
No,
assume
she
that like
doesn't-
they got a bunch of takeout food prior to him being kicked out.
Yeah.
Was what I would assume.
Basically what happens is he says, hey, if we're gonna kind of separate, let me take the kids after school. And then by the end, that just ends up happening, where he just takes the kids after school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 2 hours in between that.
It took a number of crimes and a couple of weeks
And
in between there.
a number of montages.
Oh, my
How
God.
many
were
exactly?
4 montages.
Rest
Four.
my head. I was correct. With
You
the
nailed
4
it.
montages.
Four montages, and it was a
What were
little
the
bit grueling.
songs underneath those montages, though?
One was
Do
walk
us
like
like a
man,
lady,
walk like a man.
Okay.
And then some just generic.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a lady.
There was the one that went.
They-
It's all right, not alone,
Yeah.
gotta give
Dude, was that
it
in there?
Well, it should have been.
I forget.
If I was the editor,
I
yes,
thought
it
2 of
would
them
have
were
been.
just like generic ones.
I
Yeah.
think they were, but they
Yeah.
did manage to get 2
Because they only
songs
found
about-
2 songs that were about guys turning into girls.
Yeah, this movie is 2 hours and it's an hour and a half of montage. And then
It's a lot of montages.
5 minutes of him putting a cake in his face,
Which was a
And,
great
like-
scene.
which we had.
Yep.
Yeah.
40 minutes of all ad-lib from Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Right.
They probably could have cut down that movie quite a bit if they took out some of the ad lib.
Yeah. So Pierce Brosnan and Sally Field used to date. We figured that
Yes.
out.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how their relationship kind of got together.
Yeah, we didn't know anything like that.
But do we think that Sally Field planned the divorce knowing that she was going to have this
Okay,
meeting with
it
Pierce
was.
Brosnan?
I did write this as a note. It was very suspicious timing because her boss comes to her and he's just like, "Hey, you remember so and so?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I remember him." And he's like, "Well, he's rich now and he's looking to develop all this stuff, and we're a design firm, and he wants us to design stuff. So we're gonna have you meet with him." So she knows she's gonna meet this guy, and then that same day is like, "We're getting a divorce." And I was like, that's a little suspicious. I feel like she planned that a little bit.
I did have that thought too. I will agree with that for sure.
I was like, that's a little weird.
It's too convenient.
Mm-hmm.
It's very convenient.
And then they get together.
Yeah.
And he's a great
he's a
guy.
great man. And
And
everything.
let's not even talk about the whole like rebound time.
Right.
You know, it's like if you have been married for 14 years and you suddenly get a divorce, you're not instantly like, oh, who's this next one? There's some time you gotta like,
Yeah.
you know.
You need a process, you know?
You can be going out with somebody for
She
like
was
6
immediately
months.
like infatuated with him. Like,
Oh, yeah, and how
when
could you
she
not be?
saw
Oh,
him, oh my god!
He walked in and she was just drooling on the table.
Yeah.
You said he was looking a little bony.
He was looking on that
He
diving
needs to eat
board.
a little bit of meat.
He was looking a little frail.
I did not get that impression, but
I calls him like I sees him.
We'll say there are some signs of random aggression from Robin Williams about wanting to murder his wife
Yeah,
and in general towards Pierce Brosnan.
yeah, he
he
tries
does
to
have that
murder
argument
Pierce
with his
Brosnan.
kids
Yeah,
at the dinner table.
He's a little bit of an aggressive guy. There's something more behind him of why the divorce happened, I think.
Beating.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I
I don't
said
think
yeah.
it was that far, but
You were
I
just
don't
both
know.
so convinced about that.
there were moments where he was just a little two-faced. He wasn't such a great guy some of the time.
Yeah,
I
and
agree, he did-
I will say that we don't even really get the idea of why they divorced. Like, we kind of get some general, like,
Yeah.
we're just better off not being together. Like, you're a better person, and I'm a
Right.
better person when we're not together.
Well, there's a scene where he is Miss Doubtfire, and she's telling him the disputes that she should have told him as himself, but
yeah,
he's just upset.
which is really just on her, because
Yeah.
she didn't, like, she could have tried to talk to him about this stuff.
Right. Sally Field's a bad person.
Yeah.
I feel like
She
that
just
is actually pretty
she
well
doesn't
conveyed in the
communicate.
film. Is that she was like the bad person in the relationship. And I don't necessarily know that's 100% fair, because you're right. We don't
Yeah.
get to see a whole lot of Robin Williams' character, aside from like he throws this bananas party without his wife's permission in the beginning.
Yeah, that's all you get. Like,
Which
right
you were totally right about.
Right from the get-go, it's like there's this big party, she's really upset about it, and then like immediately it's over within
the
like the
divorce
first
happens
10 minutes of
right
the
then and
movie.
there.
Yeah.
Which we were wrong about in the first.
Yeah, we
Like,
thought
oh,
it
she
started
made
with
those
them as
begonias.
getting
Yeah,
divorced.
she really loved
But
it.
they
Yeah.
do start married, and we see what straw broke the camel's back. So.
Right. I did think
An
they were
actual camel
divorced.
at the party.
Yes.
Which they did have goats.
They had.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how like the cops come by and they're like, it's illegal to have these barn animals, and I was like, that's like an outside vendor petting zoo company. You'd
Right.
think the company would be like, oh, here's like our permits to allow this in the city of San Francisco where we operate.
Yeah.
Who are all those kids?
There
at
were
this
kids
party?
of all
There were
ages.
kids, yeah.
for this
Because
high school kids' birthday.
Yeah,
party.
high school kids to elementary school kids.
like there were, I don't understand which of the kids' birthday parties it was.
It was the
Oh,
boys.
that's right. It was the boys
It was
because
the
he,
boys.
he
Soccer
feels
cake.
responsible later.
Yes. No, I think what happened. I think I can explain all the children. So there's 3 children of 3 different ages, and they all invited friends.
yeah,
That's
I
bullshit.
guess. That- I didn't
It's
think
his birthday party.
I
It's
never
his
invited
birthday.
my friends to my sister's birthday party. That didn't happen.
I just went to my
good
friends
point.
when my sister had a birthday party. I was like, "Get me out of here."
Well, if you had slamming birthday parties like they did,
That's
they
probably
did
true.
have a slam
That was
birthday
a
party.
slamming
party.
birthday
What
party.
song was it? Pump Up the Jam? What?
Oh,
Yeah, no, it was Jump Around.
It was
Jump
Jump
Around.
Around.
Yep.
We were really hoping for good vibrations, but no.
I'm
They're,
waiting
they're
for
not
that.
going to be rocking out to Good Vibrations.
Sometime.
Like 2-minute song.
Like everyone listen to Marky Mark.
So do you think Sally feels attracted to Mrs. Doubtfire? No. I wrote that down. Do you think there's a connection there?
I know we've seen
between
some
them?
movies with some questionable suggestive things, but I didn't get this at all,
No?
Bradley.
Okay. I'm just putting that out there.
Just
No,
loved it.
they did
It
have
was-
those moments where she was like, "I feel like I've known you my whole life."
There were some intimate things that
I think
happened.
she felt like
Yeah.
maybe
I
a
mean,
mother
that was part
figure.
of probably him like seeping through Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah,
And
and I get
that's
that.
what she was attracted to.
Yeah, I almost felt like it could have also been possibly like a mom figure or like a grandma figure that she was kind of looking up to. a
Yeah,
little
like
bit.
taking care of her and the kids.
Oh, I
even.
see.
Yeah. But I'm not disputing because your argument. That is very possible.
But yeah, I definitely see it the other way because she talks about like one of the reasons she's upset and wants to have the divorce anyways because she's the one that has to be the adult all the time and she's tired of it. So this is a chance for her to have someone be an adult to her and for her. So yeah, I mean I can see it be appreciated. And
I feel like she's always feeling like the bad parent telling like Robin Williams to back down, and now she wants Mrs. Doubtfire to kind of do that.
right.
Yeah,
To
she
her,
did
maybe?
say that she felt like she was the bad parent.
Yeah, well, she was. So the kids clean for Mrs. Doubtfire, and the guy's just scrubbing the wall.
He's, yeah,
The
with his
boys-
sponge. You've never done
You
that.
were
Scrubbing
so
the wall with
interested
the
You were so
sponge.
confused about
I'm just
that.
very confused.
How do you clean the wall?
Do people clean the
Wall-
wall?
Walls
get
get dirty.
Just that section of the wall?
That's where you always put your hand on the wall when you go around, and over the years,
Is
the dirt
your
builds
wall
up.
clean right now? That's what I
I
want.
doubt it.
that is not the point.
We're not talking about my walls
That is
here,
not
okay?
the point right
We're
now.
not talking about my
And you were
walls.
right about them just loving old TV shows.
Yeah.
Like whenever the TV's on,
They're like,
it's
that's
a
true.
public domain movie.
Yes.
They're able to play in the film.
Dick Van Dyke is right now, and we will not be doing anything that's not Dick
Yeah,
Van
that's
Dyke
true.
related.
Those kids were all about Dick Van Dyke.
They were
They
super
only watch
into it.
black and white TV shows.
Yeah.
I don't
Or
think
like
they-
weird, creepy Japanese face.
Yeah, okay,
melody.
you were spot on. There
Yep.
was like some weird samurai film with someone.
I definitely
sculpting a
didn't say
face.
that in
Yeah.
the podcast.
You did
though.
say that.
Oh, you were going to, and then you didn't.
Oh, I thought,
Oh,
I
was
thought
that
you
it?
did.
I
I
thought
said
you
it
did.
after
said it
we
after
stopped.
Okay,
it. Yeah.
But you called it that it happened.
Yeah, you did. That was weird.
So Mrs. Doubtfire didn't need to go to the pool in that one scene, and she also didn't need to attend the dinner.
No,
Yeah.
She could have said there was no like big
I think-
stake reasons for her to
I
be
think
in
the
either of
reason
those
she wanted to go to the
situations.
dinner was because she wanted to he wanted to interfere with Pierce Brosnan and
No,
No,
I don't
that's
think
not
that
at
ever
all.
came up.
No?
No, they
begged
asked her.
Yeah,
They
the little
begged her to
kids
go.
were the
They
only ones that
did
did
beg
it.
her. Even
Yes,
the little
they
girl.
did.
She could
was
have
like,
easily just
"Please
said
go."
no.
She could have just said no.
I have a thing that night.
She didn't want to disappoint that tiny child.
I guess.
But it
It's
makes
like, look,
the
pick and
story,
choose your battles.
It makes the story more interesting.
Right, so she does say
It's
yes
a good plot
to
device.
both that and going to the pool. So they don't go on a vacation.
No.
They
Yeah,
just get invited to a pool.
She
I thought
definitely
there was a
didn't
whole
need to
scene
go to
where
the
they
pool scene.
went out. Yeah.
I mean, that was inviting, I think. Although, if she hadn't gone to the pool scene, we'd never get to hear about drive-by fruiting.
It's true.
And that's
true.
important.
It's almost as if the pool scene wasn't even important. Like, it wasn't, when you think about, like, cause and effect, like, it just kind of happened.
I swear to God, the reason that pool scene exists is so we get the scene with Stu saying how much he cares for those kids.
Yeah.
So we can see that
Right.
he's a good guy.
It really set that up.
I say this even without outside of laughing about him being a great, like, I think that's why that scene's in there.
He also just
Yeah.
narrates that Robin Williams says to himself that he's there to witness that someone else is better for his kids. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he explains to us what the scene's supposed to be about.
In that scene, he has that moment of self-reflection that he never really had until that point, where he's like, he steps back and he's like, "This is a bit obsessive and crazy," or something.
Yeah,
like
he
that.
does. Yeah.
Yeah, and like he
And
has
it
that.
is,
He
yeah.
has that moment, and he realizes it. I think that's the turning
I
point.
can see, yeah. I mean, I see why that scene has important elements.
It could have been done anywhere in any way, but
Yes.
they chose.
Well, they
the
also
pool
wanted to get Pierce Brosnan in a suit.
and to do
Oh,
a
yeah.
double front flip.
Get
Yeah.
him in a bathing suit.
Mm-hmm.
It's important for the movie.
And the drive-by fruiting line that had,
And the drive-by fruiting.
it had to be in the movie.
I know that was in the script. It wasn't an ad-lib.
So, let's also talk about how he becomes Mrs. Doubtfire with the
montage?
The
montage.
He goes
That's
through
right.
several
The
different
four.
personalities.
He
He goes through a Puerto Rican woman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the scary
Barbara
nails.
Barbara
Streisand.
Yeah. And like a little Jewish lady.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
those are
and
kind
then
of
they
the
sing
three-
Fiddler on the Roof.
Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh man, it was a good scene, and
Oh,
It
yeah.
was, actually.
And I wish he was in the movie more. His brother, Harvey
Yeah.
Firestein.
I was just about to say that.
I really liked the relationship he had with his brother and his
Yeah,
like
it felt
brother's
really
partner too.
genuine,
I loved
right.
like when he opens the door and he says like, "I want you to make me a woman," and his brother's like, "I've been waiting so long to
Yeah.
hear you say that," and like hugs him. Like they have it seems like
very
a really
very good
entertaining
lines.
and
Harvey
fun
Firestone
dynamic.
does really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Maybe that's why we got Birdcage, because he just wanted to explore that option
Yeah.
a little bit more.
He
Yeah.
needed to know.
And it was, Birdcage.
And he was great in Death to Smoochie.
Oh yeah.
Shut up then.
Another great movie.
And Jeff Goldblum's brother in Independence Day.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Well, I don't know if it was his brother.
Or maybe just his
It was just his
coworker.
coworker.
Oh, yeah.
I just felt like he was a brother in every film. For some
He's
reason,
just, a brother from another
Isn't
mother.
he a brother to all of us, in a way?
Possibly.
We were correct in Robin Williams' sabotage of the ad. He
Yes.
did change the phone number and then
Mhm.
call in as multiple characters that were all horrible
Yes.
Yeah.
in a montage.
Yeah,
In a
to
montage,
really,
one of
to
the
really
montages.
like break Sally Field down.
Yeah,
Mhm.
really beat her and be like, "This is a fruitless search." So that
And that was just kind of a jerky move on his part.
I feel like
think. He
even
could've
without
been-
those, he probably could have gotten in there as Mrs. Doubtfire
Oh, yeah.
because he made her a pristine candidate.
I almost
Outside of
wonder if like maybe he would keep harassing Sally Field with like random people who do not like fit the criteria
Oh, until
to the point where she's just
Yeah.
like maybe
that was,
Rob
like,
Williams
his
is
thought.
the right person.
maybe that was his thought. His thought originally, and it just happened that it worked on the first try. That he was like Doubtfire.
Yeah, but I don't know.
There were several scenes crammed in there just for Robin Williams to do impressions of
Oh
other
yeah,
people.
That was
Definitely.
That's kind of
most
like
of this
the
movie.
most of the movie. Yeah.
This movie would
They were
not
good-
work
they were
with
good.
anyone else.
No.
I mean, Mike Myers tried to do
Michael
that.
Myers.
and
Michael Myers
some-
started stabbing
he doesn't do any voice
He
characters.
tries to do other characters and they just don't work out. And,
He would
Dana
just do a Scottish character the entire time.
Dana Carvey in Master of Disguise, like
Oh,
failed
boy.
on its
That
head.
was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
this movie only works with Robin Williams,
yeah, agreed.
and it also has a lot of like real human elements in it too.
Yeah.
I mean, the scenes where he's in court, like pleading for his kids, which were exactly how I remember. He is very genuine and very moving about how much he loves his kids and needs his kids.
Yeah.
And the judge almost calls him out on acting because he is so different in those scenes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That he thinks he's just putting on a show to try to get the kids back.
Right.
Which isn't the case, but I don't know. He's got a split personality disorder thing happening
Right.
the whole film.
If I'm the judge in that situation and I have heard everything that's happened, I'm like, this guy needs to go to jail.
Yeah. That is a nutso thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm curious with the TV show. He ends up hosting it as Mrs. Doubtfire, which was a save from the dinner he had with the producer, where he
Right.
was like, "Oh, I sat down because this is the host character." You ever think like a year later he was like, "God, that was a stupid choice. I
Yeah,
now
I
I
have to
Mrs.
be
Doubtfire
Mrs.
every
Doubtfire
time I do
all
this
the
show
time."
now."
Like, what was his original idea for a show?
I assumed it was just him as him, like hosting this show, and now he has to do it as Mrs. Doubtfire. Like that was not his original intention. Or
Arguably,
something.
though, I feel like he's okay with that.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think
he
he's
likes
going to
playing
be
that
that upset
character.
about it, but
But now let's think about the children that are growing up watching Mrs. Doubtfire. They're going to hit like 16, 17 years old and be like, that is a man.
they're going to read
yeah.
like he's going to release his like autobiography, and they're going to read all about how the kid growing like. Or there's going to be like an True Hollywood special all about how Mrs. Doubtfire was actually this guy and talk all about his disturbing home life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you were supposed to buy into it, but Mrs. Doubtfire looks exactly like Robin Williams. The makeup isn't that different than what he looks like normally.
According to legend, like when they were actually doing the film, Robin Williams tested the Mrs. Doubtfire character with his own son, who didn't realize it was him until he talked.
I don't know.
Which
guess
I know
That seems
Brad
like a-
does disagrees because he's convinced they look the same.
It looks exactly like him.
If you look at Mrs. Doubtfire looking for Robin Williams,
If you're expecting
you
Robin
will see
Williams,
it.
you're
But
going to
if
see
you
it.
if
But
you
if you're
just
not,
it's like if you just randomly ran into this person on the street.
I don't think I'd think Robin Williams if I just saw that person.
He should have changed his eye color or just done something a little bit different.
I mean, he did get boobs.
Put it on
that
there.
was-
Yeah, I guess.
and the wrinkly skin and
That Mrs. Doubtfire's naked a couple times in the film.
Oh God.
And you see that full-on bodysuit.
He gets laughed at by those two like fat Asian kids across
you
the
see
way.
Robin Williams' hairy body too many times, and
It happens quite a few times.
it's more than a couple.
I feel like Robin Williams' character keeps putting himself in bad situations, even
Yeah.
with the social worker from the court.
Right.
Like, so she shows up,
Yeah.
and Mrs. Doubtfire shows up at the same time, and she says that she's Robin's sister, and then they go upstairs together. But she didn't have to say that Robin was even there. She could have been like, "Oh, he's out," like he
He's
forgot.
not
Yeah,
there.
but then that's gonna hurt him in court. Like if he's like, "Oh, you didn't make your meeting with the social worker
definitely.
we were
I guess.
appointed, but you're a social worker. You know these things."
Yeah, what would you do if there was a...
if some guy was like,
sister of
if some guy's sister
somebody
who looked
there.
really old compared to her brother,
And was exactly like the brother.
and you never saw them both in the same room at the same time.
was like, "Oh, he just couldn't make it," you'd be like,
I would feel a little weirded out, and I would probably be like, "Let's not meet here.
Yeah, just reschedule.
let's
That's all
meet
you
somewhere
say.
"In a public location
go
where
somewhere
you can't
else."
murder me."
But if your job is specifically to inspect the home, you kind of have to be in the home. You have to go into that.
Yeah, I mean, part of
I
the
will
job
say for
was-
sure, it probably will not look good on him if he's not there for a scheduled appointment with this lady.
Yeah.
Now, as a social worker, if you saw all the things that Robin Williams was doing in this movie, what would you recommend?
What things specifically? Because she only saw just a messy
glimpse of the-
apartment.
Well, but at the
Okay.
end, she was told that he has no sister. So who the heck did she meet?
Right,
And
that
how
never
is she
comes
whole
not
up.
time.
gonna find-
She never got to.
I have to believe she found out at that point, or at least a little bit afterwards, what was going
With
on.
this being a case that she is involved with, how is she not going to find out that he was dressing up like this woman to be Mrs. Doubtfire?
I don't know. She would have to jump to conclusions, basically.
Well, if the judge tells you specifically, or whoever it is that is the liaison, is like, this person
Doesn't have a sister.
doesn't have a sister and dressed up like an old lady to be a nanny to his children.
Oh well, that's like after the fact, after like the court decision, though, right?
Well, the court knew about it, so either the court was told or she found out and told the court in her report about everything that had happened. So the court knew. So
Yeah.
the information was out there before that last hearing
Yes,
of what was
Yeah.
going on.
it would have had because
And I would have assumed
I mean,
that
but
Sally Field would
yeah.
have called the social worker and been like, "This is what happened at dinner tonight."
yeah,
And
like Sally Field especially is not going to keep that quiet.
right.
I don't know. In that situation, I know nothing about like child like cases like CPS or friend of the court or anything like that. But I don't know. Like she just probably has to report on what she's seen or per other people, like what was said.
What if she was paid a large amount of money
By Pierce Brosnan.
by Pierce Brosnan, who's a terrible person?
Well, that would be unethical.
And inaccurate because he's amazing.
Brosnan is a saint.
So it's never really established that Sally Field is like pushing to have sole custody, right? She's kind of just going with whatever the judge decides.
It did seem a little bit like that was just sort of the judge's call.
Sally Field never makes her point across that she like.
She just sits there
doesn't
quiet.
want to-
Her
Yeah,
even
she
her
doesn't
lawyer
want to
doesn't really say anything. It's the judge being like, she gets
This is
them
what
except for
happens.
Saturdays, and then at the end she gets them all the
She
time.
never makes her point heard ever. I don't know how she feels about it
Well,
until
she's
the
probably,
very end.
probably fine getting her
we
kids.
only see her
Right.
face at the end where she's like, "Oh, well, this is kind of crummy." Like,
It does seem
Yeah,
kind of
it's
strange.
you
Like,
can actively change this. You're in that. position where you can.
Yeah,
do
which
that,
and I think Robin Williams' character had a valid point too when he pointed that out when he's like, "You knew I wasn't lying, and you sat there and didn't say anything in the court hearing."
Right? Yeah, she does. He does.
Yeah.
He like straight up says that, like, and she's
she
like,
doesn't
"Well, I was angry," and he's like, "This was bigger than that."
Yeah,
Like,
this was.
I
slightly
understand you're upset,
more
but you
decision.
need to understand.
Right.
Like,
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So worst case scenario, he never sees his kids. How long? When they turn 18, he can see them anytime they
well,
want.
no,
right?
okay.
Like
This
it's
is-
not
I
really
was
that long
confused
he
about
has
this
to
too,
wait. Other
'cause
than the littlest one.
the initial ruling was that he gets them on Saturdays.
Right.
Uh-huh.
It seemed like the follow-up ruling was she gets full custody. He still sees them Saturdays. Now he just has
Supervised.
also a supervisor.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
complains
like-
about
like
that.
the
I was like,
social worker
I was like,
thing.
all
Yeah.
the stuff he pulled, and the only change was that there's now a supervised.
But it was
custody
also
sessions?
Yeah.
I was
it was
like,
like a
that
couple
seems
hours
pretty lenient
supervised.
still.
And she's probably there too.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I'm not
It's
saying
not great though.
No, it's
either.
not great.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's actually it is
But
worse.
I'm surprised the judge wasn't just like, you are not going to see them ever because
again.
you're going to be in jail.
Well, it did sound like he was kind of a progressive judge. You know, because he was saying like, you know, we've learned in these times that
He
it's
did
good
say
to
that.
have both parents involved. And
Speaking of the times, I really appreciated Rob Williams saying, "Look, it's the '90s."
yeah, he's like he made up the story about running into an old girlfriend, and the old executive guy was like, "Oh, does your girlfriend have a girlfriend?" And he's like, "It's the '90s."
It's the '90s, right?
Yeah, really turning the joke into something else.
Yes.
Or
That was very
turning
good.
that phrase into something else.
So he really only has to wait like a few years to hang out with his older kids. It's the youngest one he's not going to see that often.
Right, because she's
Yes.
5.
Yeah.
Something happens. So I guess that's the big deal.
And I guess I would also fear, if I was a father and that was the case, I'd worry that they would, because they don't see me, grow apart and not be interested in seeing me
Exactly.
later. So I think that he's also worried about losing that connection and not being able to get it back.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
It's,
I think
it's hinted at that they get back together a little bit.
I don't know. It
No,
was
It's up to
Uh,
interpretation, but the seed is planted.
The scene was a little bit planted, but it did seem very much like in his speech that he gives at the end, where he's answering the letter from the girl, where he's just like, sometimes it's better when they're apart.
Yes.
And he's like, so they're not going to get back together, but that's okay. And there's all kinds
Yeah,
of
I
things.
think
Yeah.
that's
So
exactly
which
what
you
that
knew was
speech
gonna
is
happen.
for, is
Yeah.
to kind of point out the fact that Robin Williams' character is okay with being divorced from Sally Fields, but I think his overall agenda was always to be involved in his kids' life.
Yes.
like his
Yes.
kids were more important even
It
than
seemed
his
like
marriage.
once they got to that point, like both of them were at the point where they're like, we can't save this. And he tried, I think, but only it seemed like for the sake of the kids, not because he likes Sally Fields anymore.
I think he does like Sally Field.
I don't
a lot.
know.
I don't know.
I don't
He
know.
was really
As
bitter about
Mrs.
it.
Doubtfire, he's trying to like change things, like make her dress down.
That was to make sure Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah,
didn't get any
that's
ideas.
exactly it. She was trying to make
okay,
Pierce Brosnan
but
just less
she
she
appealing
still
to
wore
Pierce
the dress
Brosnan.
that she wanted to, and Pierce Brosnan didn't get any ideas.
That's because he's a great guy.
He is a great
who
guy.
has morals.
He has so many ideas. You guys don't even
He
know.
doesn't take advantage of women.
I think that Mrs. Doubtfire was with the whole like, you know, like, oh, how long did you wait until you felt anything? And he was like, never. I never felt another thing again after my husband died. Was him not necessarily against Pierce Brosnan, but against any other guy.
Because
Yeah.
he didn't want
He
anyone
wanted
to
to get
compete
back.
as
That
a
was very
dad.
selfish
He
of
wanted,
him.
he wanted
Yeah,
to
it's
get
very
back.
controlling.
Yeah,
for
very
sure.
controlling.
Yeah.
Yes. And he does kind of acknowledge that near the end, where he's just like, this is getting a little too much.
That's why I'm not sure that I'm rooting for Robin Williams in this movie.
Ooh.
Cool. I definitely want him to see his kids.
I want him
but-
to see.
I
his
do
kids,
want him to see
but,
his
like,
kids, but I do not agree with his methods.
Yeah, the lengths. Like
Yeah.
he's kind of a psychopath. Like
Right.
He's not great. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I think that, like, overall, I think that is what he learns. Like, he learns to kind of step back, be who he is, but also not, like, the fact that he was Mrs. Doubtfire gave him all these opportunities to be kind of controlling and manipulative. And he realized that maybe that was not the way to go.
do you think he had that moment that he realized that? Because it seems like the end of the movie.
I hope so.
He's like, got everything that I wanted.
Right.
Yeah, I guess.
Except that he has to host that show as Mrs.
Yes.
Doubtfire.
I'm sure he's making bank hosting that show.
Oh,
I'm sure it's going to be great.
Clearly in the quadruple
Local
digits.
cable.
You do have a
network
point, though.
shows.
I don't know if there is that moment.
Yeah,
but I felt like it could be possible in my head.
You want that moment so badly because you do like the character, but at the same time, you take a step back and look at that guy, and you're like, this is not a person that you can really
Yeah.
trust.
Yeah, he's not a great guy.
You cannot trust him to take care of anyone, I guess.
But
Right.
in his
Yeah.
shoes, he had the opportunity. He's good at doing voices. His brother's a makeup
He
artist.
has a certain set of skills.
The kids don't seem like they need a lot of supervision. They seem like great kids.
They do seem like great
So,
kids,
I mean,
except
they do
the
what they're
mom did
told.
mention that like the son
boy
was now
was-
passing all his classes, and I was
Yeah,
like,
what a
so
beef
he
for
wasn't
mentioning
before,
that.
like,
Setting that benchmark low.
yeah,
Right.
jeez.
Yeah, I thought the kids were gonna have more conflict. I thought the daughter had been like dating like
I
a
thought
bad
there'd be a dating
boyfriend.
thing for
like
the
an
oldest
Uncle
daughter.
Buck situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that never came up, and the little kid didn't really have any
Yeah,
interest.
I feel like the
He was just
older
cute.
daughter could have just like been the one to like kind of supervise everyone after school. Like it didn't need to
Oh,
have.
yeah.
Mr.
Oh yeah,
Bradley.
they are old enough to take
Yeah.
care of them.
It definitely,
Yeah.
I definitely agree
Point.
with that.
I mean, like you get scenes of them just watching Dick Van Dyke and just like
and it seems like
They're
the
doing
older
great
daughter's
they're not
running
doing
the show
drugs.
anyway.
They're not inviting people over.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
it seems like the oldest daughter, like, I don't want to say like runs the other two, but they clearly look to her when they're confused about something. Both of the younger
Yeah.
kids. did.
I would argue that the only real bad influence in that family was
It was Pierce Brosnan, you're a liar.
not Pierce Brosnan.
yeah, I agree with you.
Robin Williams is
Yeah.
the one who's like having that big party and like inviting all
Yeah,
the
he's
kids.
he's a
in.
bad influence.
Yes.
He shouldn't be allowed to see his kids. I'm coming out with it.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
stating it right now.
This is why we do the show, so we can have these kinds of revelations.
He's a bad influence on his children.
Really flip my opinion about
Pierce Brosnan, it needs to be the
Pierce
father
Bros-
figure
yeah.
in the family.
I hope that even though we don't get to see him ever again after the restaurant incident,
Yes, which we need to address.
I really hope that he did stick around because I
We-
think he was going to be a great
Yeah.
dad to
We
those
have
kids.
no idea because they never addressed that after he
After he thanks.
even after because of Robin Williams.
Yeah,
he
Robin
chokes-
Williams puts
Robin
pepper
Williams
in his
tries
jambalaya,
to
which
kill
is,
him.
wasn't
He tries
safe.
to kill him.
Tries to kill him by putting pepper
No
in his
pepper.
jambalaya.
I am very allergic to pepper. Please do not put pepper on this.
He doesn't. Well, okay. We need to at least start with the fact that why are you ordering jambalaya if you're allergic to pepper?
Right.
That is a spicy dish.
It is
Yeah.
it's a
You
Cajun
know
dish.
pepper's going into it.
Yes.
He put
And
as much cayenne pepper as he possibly could.
That's
on
that's
that
like
dish.
the amount
Burning
of-
your face off.
that's the amount of cayenne pepper you would put in an entire pot of jambalaya, not
Yes.
like a single
Yes.
serving.
And Pierce Brosnan tries to swallow a shrimp whole.
Yes.
That's like the whole
Doesn't have very
idea.
good teeth, I'm guessing.
I thought he was like the pepper made him like cough or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
and
what
then
he,
yeah,
like,
it,
but
it,
it
looked
no,
like
that's
that might have
shrimp.
happened.
So he Robin Williams saves his life, and
Yeah.
in the process, the mask comes
Yeah,
down.
then-
And that's what we have the big
And
reveal.
That's the big reveal. And like the Sally Field's like, oh, I can't. We
need to
gotta
go to
go.
the
We gotta go.
leaves
We gotta
after
go.
Pierce Brosnan almost died. She's just like, I gotta go.
Right.
And Pierce Brosnan shakes his hand
Yeah.
and thanks
Thanks
him for
him.
saving his life.
He
He's
doesn't
a
even
freaking
care.
nice guy.
Good guy all
Good
day.
guy, Pierce Brosnan.
All day.
Not like
The real
what the fuck,
hero
man. You're
of the movie.
You have been.
He has no character
Masquerading.
flaws whatsoever.
Yeah.
Pepper, he doesn't like pepper. That's the one thing.
No, that's
He's
a-
got-
that's a
he's got-
character-
he's
that's
a
genetic.
kryptonite.
That's a character fear. He has to
Right.
overcome
Okay,
it.
yeah, I will
Yes.
say he didn't have an allergic reaction afterwards, so it seemed like he was just saying that because he doesn't like pepper.
And the one chance he actually has to badmouth Robin Williams, he does. All he says is like, the dad's kind of a loser,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and just
Which
kinda
is
like,
arguably true.
Which
Yeah,
is very
it's a
true.
fact.
And
His
especially
dad
from
is
an
a loser.
outsider's perspective, and when you're the one like seeing Sally Field, like I would assume that the stories you get are gonna easily
They're
make
all the
him
bad
look like a
ones.
loser,
Yeah,
yeah.
And they're not entirely inaccurate. He is
No.
kind of a loser,
He is kind of a loser, and that's why he has a chance
And-
to like really lay into him.
and he does
And
it.
doesn't.
He just states a fact essentially,
Yep,
where he's
he
like,
just-
"Eh,
like
just-"
he doesn't even want to.
Or even if you
even
weren't
say it.
told anything, you're like, oh well, the dad's out of the picture. He must be a loser.
Yeah, you can
So-
can reasonably infer that.
I don't. Yeah, I agree. I think he could have been a lot harsher, and he wasn't. He
And
was just like
he was a class act.
And that's what he was trying to overcome the entire time is like this kind of loser status.
Yes.
Like he gets an apartment. It's not clean at first. He cleans it up.
yeah, he makes it nice.
Makes some improvements in his life. He is working. You know, he's working part time as Miss Doubtfire.
he
He's
gets
working
that
part
He
job
gets
right
a
away,
part-time
and
job
he's-
in shipping receiving.
Yeah,
Like,
and he's like,
immediately
and he
he
does
starts
it. He
working.
doesn't like the job, but he's like, I go to work and I do my job. Like,
And then he even overcomes that where he lands this role on a TV show, and he's
He
something
created
even
a show.
bigger. So
Star
he
of a
does
show.
improve over the story.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I still cannot
Maybe not
get
in
over
every single way.
I still
No,
can't get over
he just
Sally
learns how to
Field
cook and he gets a job.
getting into that apartment.
Those are the only
being
two
like,
things he really learned.
Yeah, you're like Sally Field, you jerk. Like
That was the worst.
I just moved
when she
in.
gets in that apartment, she's just like, "Oh, I like what you've done with the place."
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, "Oh, you bitch."
That apartment has to be so expensive too.
And it was
In
full of
San
boxes
Francisco.
still.
Yeah, he clearly
He
hasn't
just-
yeah,
even
he
unpacked.
the divorce
moved in.
just
Just
happened.
got it. He doesn't have a job at that point because he doesn't even start at that shipping receiving job. I don't think. And she's like, "Oh, I know I'm the one that made all the money and kicked you out, but what a shitty apartment you have."
Yeah.
That bothered
I
me.
feel like there were a lot of those little digs that they got in on each
Oh
other.
yeah.
his dances with
adding
wolves
up.
motif
Yeah.
dig was pretty great after
Yeah,
that, though.
I mean, that was solid.
I thought that was pretty great.
But like, I thought that really highlighted the whole like they become bitter towards each other now.
Yes.
All this is happening, and it's like
Right.
that's how
Relationships fall apart.
yeah,
At the
yes.
end, they just get too.
they just become
Too
very
big.
bitter and like, but they still have to deal
Yeah.
with each other, and so like
The things you thought were cute about somebody, the things that make you angry,
Mhm.
they just
Yeah.
build up over time, and Sally Field just couldn't take it.
Nope.
That
So I think we learned a lot. So did the film hold up for everyone?
I'd had some great moments.
Yeah, I'll say that. It had very, very good moments. For a 2-hour movie, though,
Yeah.
it's just a little
there's
much.
there's about 3 too many montages.
Yes. I loved this film, and I totally
could've just
agree
used
that
one.
there were too many. I might just be montaged
Which,
out. at this point,
which
but-
montage would you have taken, though? There's the one where
I would have
he's-
only kept the one where he went through the different personalities trying out Mrs. Doubtfire. That's the only one I would have kept.
Yeah, I would agree.
I agree.
Yeah, I think we could have.
The other ones were just
the
like
other
him
one.
could've
cleaning.
Well, there's the one
They're
him
doing
cleaning, the one him
soccer.
having fun with the kids, like taking them to the
Yep.
park. There's also the montage when he's doing voices
Yeah.
with the social work lady,
Right.
Yes.
which I think was solely just a Robin Williams vessel.
Yeah, that
scene.
didn't even need to be
There,
there.
there was the montage.
It wasn't
of
even
him,
that.
That was
funny.
just for the trailer, I
There was
guess.
the montage
which
of him
ended up
calling
being-
Sally Field as the different.
Yes.
Yep.
That's true.
That needed to stay for sure.
That does need to stay.
Yes,
I don't
that's
think
very
that needs to
important.
stay.
So is that 5
It could have been
montages?
right away him coming out as Mrs. Doubtfire with one phone call. You
I
didn't
think
need the
it's
montage
funnier,
of different
though.
voices.
Well, I think you have to set it up a little bit. They can't just be like, "Oh, here's the perfect one right off
yeah,
the
just
bat."
lowering her expectations.
No,
in a
yeah,
way,
I
but-
agree that's a montage I would keep. And yeah, totally. That's like
Totally.
I could do without that one.
Really?
I just feel like
do
it sets
without
up the because it makes a lot less sense for him to just like, I'm Mrs. Doubtfire and I'm the perfect person, and without any other people coming in.
But we do get at the end. She is auditioning nannies again, and she's getting another group of just
Oh,
terrible
yeah.
nannies.
Yeah.
yes.
So that's when she
yeah,
realizes.
Could those have been Robin Williams too?
Robin Williams set them up.
That one, the only one we saw in person was about the same size.
Yeah.
So I
it
mean,
could have.
That would have been funny if it was definitely Robin Williams again.
or just
And then
another
he walked
dude
out and he
impersonating
put on,
a
he
woman
took off all
nanny.
the clothes and he knocked on the door and it was him.
So
Oh my
Sally
God.
Field auditions enough bad nannies to make him think, oh, maybe my dad, who cross-dressed for 3 months, wasn't so bad. Maybe he was a good
Yeah,
person
the
after
one
all.
person they interview is like, I don't clean, I don't cook.
Why are you here?
Why do you want to be a nanny if you don't do things nannies
because
do?
I love kids.
Also, I don't. Do
I just-
Also,
Definitely-
I don't do kids.
I
She
just
looked
beat
like she-
children. That's all I do.
Yeah, she looked like she did not love kids.
No, not at all.
Oh,
She that was quite an interview.
Who comes into an interview like, I don't cook, I don't clean, I don't
You know-
read bedtime stories.
Listen, James, when you do interviews, do you not start off with all of the things you don't want to ever do at a job?
I take a very meatloaf approach to jobs. Where it's like, I will do anything for the job,
Someone's
I won't
like,
do
this
that. But I
job
won't
is
do that.
this job is all about typing. How?
I don't
don't-
use computers.
I
I don't
don't
look
type.
at screens.
I don't read, I don't write, I don't dictate.
Why are you here?
I don't sit in office.
I
don't...
came for the coffee.
Because I love typing, but I won't do it. I just like to watch people do it.
Yeah, it gets me going.
Yeah.
I won't be upset if I don't see this again.
Yeah, I feel
I
like-
mean, I could wait
I'm
a
sort of
while,
done.
quite a while before seeing this
Yeah.
again.
What-
I loved the movie. It's still great.
If you made a supercut of just the Pierce Brosnan scenes, I would watch that.
Great guy Pierce Brosnan. I just tell you that.
recut it as a Pierce Brosnan film.
Yeah.
What event has to happen in your life where you're like, man, I really need to watch Mrs. Doubtfire again?
Showing it to kids, I guess.
Yes,
would
showing
be,
it
like,
to
the only
kids,
thing.
I think would be kids get a kick out of that film. I know I did when I was.
It's
younger.
not really a kid's
There's a
film,
few
though.
adult
No,
things that happen in
it's
this
not.
movie.
It's a pretty adult and dark film.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of themes in terms of like really soul searching stuff that kids aren't going to understand.
And a lot of like
But there's
overt
still a lot of
sexual.
goofy humor.
There's a moment where Robin Williams and Pierce Brosnan are sitting alone at the dinner table, and he makes a lot of crude things. One of the things he says is going down payment, putting in a
Putting in a going
going
down
down
payment.
payment.
Yes,
That
that's
was
right.
a great play on
Talking
words.
about like, the women know what you're expecting when you give them that kind of gift.
Yeah.
A going down.
a going
going
down
down
payment.
payment.
That was a great play on words.
Oh man.
Loved that one.
But
I definitely saw this movie when I was a kid, though.
yeah,
that
well
would
again,
probably go right over your
again,
head.
I think that stuff's gonna go over your head. But like when his bazooms were on fire from the stove,
That's
I don't think that's
hilarious.
trying to appeal to the same audience.
Yeah, before
as-
this, Andy Mollenhauer didn't know what bazooms meant. I didn't know that was a word.
I did not. Not until today.
But Robin Williams
he learned something.
overtly says that he thinks kids things should have adult themes. To
Yes,
the,
he's
Very meta.
to the yeah.
Yeah,
to
he
the
said don't
owner
dumb
of this TV
don't
station.
don't dumb it down. If there's something you will like, they'll like it.
And that's just
as
kind of
well.
like what he was trying to do with the film too.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
just stating it
I
out
agree.
there.
I think it had a lot of great moments. I'd recommend people seeing it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
it.
I don't think
Watch
it's
it.
Most
gonna
people
add
have
no
probably
moments.
already seen it, though.
I don't
for
think
sure.
it's a movie that needs a lot of repeat viewings, but
No.
definitely
Yeah.
a movie worth seeing.
I will stand by Blank Check as being the one for sure that say
That is
Does
Go
it
watch
need to be
it.
seen again?
No.
Oh
wow,
my god!
I could not
Yeah.
disagree more.
I don't think anyone needs to watch these.
No one
these
needs to.
particular films
Okay,
again.
the people who listen to this podcast don't even need to go watch
No.
Blank Check in order to get this.
Yeah, I
Like,
would- yeah.
After watching Blank Check again, I'm like, this does not hold up.
that's a movie I will never watch again.
no, I
No.
do not need to watch Blank Check again.
agree to disagree.
No, we can't do that. This is important.
For the podcast to continue.
This is too important for.
So, is there anything that we thought we missed, or I think we're pretty good?
I think
on
that's
Mrs.
it.
Doubtfire?
Yeah.
That's it.
That pretty much encompasses the film.
All right. Join us next time we talk about Beethoven. Please rate, like, and subscribe to us on iTunes. Find us on Twitter @WhatWeRemember, Instagram @WhatWeRemember, and WhatWeRemember.com. If you're from the Metro Detroit area and you would like to book us for a live podcast and a movie event, contact us at whatwerememberemail@gmail.com and look at our website, whatweremember.com, for more details.